Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Karen, behind the scenes. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. This is indeed Medicine Buddha. I'm here, situated on the ancestral lands of the Creek, Muskogee, and Cherokee people, the land we call Atlanta, and offering deep gratitude to the land, to the caretakers of the land. Offer deep gratitude to my ancestors who were a part of the history of this land as well. And as I'm being held by the land, I welcome you into this space as well and pray that the lands that you are practicing on are also holding you, and that you are also in relationship with the lands that you're living on, learning on, working on, right? Um, and so I hope you are resourced and you have what you need, not maybe everything you want, but what you need right now. And yeah, so wonderful to be with everyone. Yeah, and thank you for the birthday wishes. We had a really wonderful weekend at Sex Down South. And we had a really wonderful workshop yesterday. But with the eclipse, we just kind of hung out. At least on my mind, I thought we were hanging out. But it was such a wonderful weekend. Maybe some of you, probably some of you, who I met this weekend are probably checking us out tonight in Medicine Buddha. The word gets around about the space. People come up to me and say, "Oh, I do Medicine Buddha." And I'm like, "Oh." But it was such a blessing to be there this weekend. But yeah, here we go. Um, Feel free to check in the chat. How are you doing? Like, what's going on? What's happening? How are you feeling right now? And what else? Yeah, we've gotten all the announcements in. So yeah, we're just going to continue with with the practice or with the kind of practice that we've been doing for a couple of weeks, a very gentle becoming, um, which I think is very deeply nourishing, just to gently become, right? As we were talking about yesterday, to turn a thought to Medicine Buddha, to simply think I am, and you arise, right, as Medicine Buddha, right? That one thought disrupts so much karma around ego grasping and clinging, right? This is a very profound um, method here, right? That we're really trying to embody right now, because the embodiment of the deity helps us to reclaim spaciousness, fluidity, which is what we're desperately needing right now. Everything feels very carceral, which is to say everything feels very rigid, very hard, right? Um, yeah, transitioning into the fall, yeah, which feels early, but here we go. Um, I'm just looking through, yeah, just reading through the check-ins. Yeah, feeling fear, but protected by the practice. State of the world being terrible, insane, tired. Yeah, well, on this part, this side of the eclipse, we're still in between eclipses. So it's normal to feel exhausted. I felt exhausted. I was like half asleep all day yesterday. Um, when an eclipse falls on your birthday, then you get extra punch, extra like dragged down. So um but this is a period of like profound transformation, a lot of letting go. That's the exhaustion, is the letting go. As I've often said, we're carrying too much, right? We're carrying things that we actually don't need to be dealing with, right? But somehow we've been conditioned to hold on to certain things, right? And to certain people, right? I think what we're being invited to do in this season is to really discern what needs to be offered up, You know, what needs to be surrendered? And as we were talking about last weekend in our refuge work session, right? What are we taking refuge in that's actually trying to get us free, right? Opposed to taking refuge in things because it's familiar or it's comfortable or it's just what we know and so forth, right? Can we take a risk and like divest from the things that feel familiar and comfortable and kind of reinvest our energy in the things that are actually, going to get us free, although they may feel quite risky. Mhm. And I'm just encouraging everyone to spend as much time in the natural world as possible with the waters, with wild water. But, you can also just use a pool, or a bathtub, right? But if you live near some wild water, go and be with the waters, go and touch the water, speak to the waters, right? Go and walk lands. If you live in the mountains, go up into the mountains, feel the like the energy of the mountains, right? Offer prayers to the mountain spirits. The mountain spirits, I believe really they're about animating our dreams, right? Mountain spirits have a kind of intelligence, and that we can pray for that intelligence to be deeply kind of imbued into our dreams and our aspirations, right? There's so much medicine, right, available to us, not just through practice, but just through the land, just through the waters, the air, the fire, everything. There's so much. There's ancestral medicines, there's spirit medicines, right? And we just need to like open to that, like open to those medicines, take it seriously. Um, Remy just received their acupuncture license because of this practice. Thank you, Medicine Buddha. And I also will take some of that gratitude as well. I know you just forgot to put my name there, but that's okay. Um, Epsom salts, right? Epsom salts, warm water will do a world of wonder, I tell you. Um, all right. So it's good to see. It's good to see the check-ins. I really appreciate it. Mm. So homebound and disabled, how do I feel the natural world? The natural world is right here. So I say, yeah, you can go out, but all you do is invite it in. Here's air. There you go. Light a candle. Here's fire, right? Um, we open a window, and there you go, right? So if you can't get out, then you invite it in. You invite the natural world in, right? This is the power of Tantra, right? If you don't have it, you can just imagine it, right? With the intention. Right? With a deep intention, like we can call anything into being. Hell, we call samsara into being. So, like, if we can bring this shit around, we can bring other stuff around, right? This is just one long, continuous dream that we're trying to wake up from, right? The practices are gently, like, kind of nudging us awake, right? And we keep doing it. And over time, like we'll learn how to tune into that nudging, and we can allow that nudging to really like create this intense radical disruption, right? It's the kind of disruption I talk about in when we talk about the Heart Sutra, and how these extremes of form and formlessness or materialism and nihilism kind of converge into the middle way, right? And that convergence of these extremes creates this wave, right? Or it creates this like like disruption, right? Um, and that disruption is meant to be ridden. Like we're supposed to ride it like a wave to slowly begin to kind of wake up from all of our unconscious reactivity. So unconscious reactivity, all the ways in which we're consenting to this, right? And just perpetuating this experience of suffering and duality. So, like that tension is meant to kind of start nudging us awake and getting us to start responding instead of just unconsciously, habitually reacting to everything. And once we start responding, then we can choose responses that feel wakeful, attentive, right? Um, and you begin to slowly, like it's like waking up after a deep sleep. Sometimes it takes a while to kind of really get your body going and get your breath going and everything, and really kind of tune in to what's happening, right? And in the practice context, that stage of awakening, it feels like you're losing it. It does. It feels like a real disconnection from reality, but it actually is a disconnection from reality. It's a disconnection or a beginning of a disconnection from the reality that you've been consenting to, the dream that you've been wrapped up in. And once you start divesting from that dream, as this tension begins to gently nudge you awake, you're gonna feel just out of it. Like it's gonna feel very extreme. It's going to feel disorienting, it's going to feel isolating, right? And in that space, that's when we rely on community. This is when we rely on teachers, guides, elders who understand what that space feels like and what it looks like. This is the importance of um, like community and teachers. Right, because when this shit gets real intense, like you need someone to confirm, to validate, or to kind of point you in the right direction. And which is what I have too. I have teachers and guides, spiritual advisors. I have them all. You know, I have them all like ready to text at any moment when shit goes down. Like when I'm like feeling out of it, or I'm just like in this really intense space, I just have to like text or call someone. Um, so I don't do any of this alone, right? And this isn't very important for all of us. Like when we talk about collective liberation, this is a part of what collective liberation looks like, right? Like we have to rely on people with insights, right? Because it's quite easy for us to go off on our own trips. We can go off on our own things, right? We get a little bit of awareness, and the next day, we're starting a cult, right? And we're like the whatever, the Brotherhood of the Awakened Moon, whatever, right? Um, and that's just really not, that's not really like conducive to anyone's liberation, right? And this is why we have to be held and surrounded by teachers and guides, as well. And but also like this is what you'll also find too is that when you're saying yes to this moment, saying yes to all of this disruption, that's an energy that we actually begin to ride when we offer awareness and open awareness up to all this energy. That energy becomes a resource for us to use to deepen our realization, our awareness, right? You turn chaotic energy into a resource when we offer awareness and care to it. You know, if you're not trying to pay attention to it, if you're not trying to care about it, then it's going to just be another expression of suffering. Just like this past weekend, right, with the eclipse started hitting me on Thursday, right? And I was in it on Friday, right? And really like trying to like stay clear with it through Saturday and Sunday, right? Um, And it's easy to look at that experience and say, yeah, this is just suffering. Why am I here? Or if you, like I did, just paid attention and worked with it and moved the energy and open to it, it's resulting in me being able to use this energy to go much deeper into my practice, you know? And a lot of folks don't have the tools, the capacities, right, to ride this energy and to use this energy to deepen awareness, right? This is also the difference between consuming the chaos or being consumed by the chaos, right? And so many folks of us are being consumed by the chaos, right? When in fact, we need to be consuming the chaos. We need to be eating it, which is an expression of wrathful energies, right? Like the wrathful deities, wrathful energies are about like going directly into these energies and getting really spacious and wide around it. So you begin to hold the chaos instead of the chaos holding you, right? That's a kind of fearlessness, that's a kind of directness. That's an audacity that we embody in our practice, right? Um, and this is why have said in the past too, that there are so many beings who have chosen to reincarnate or to embody at this moment because of all of this energy that's opening and moving through. Like it's again, it's like that. It's like, the old surfing movies about all the big kahuna. That's a surfing movie, right? The big kahuna. Um, or it's just something, you know. Um, but it's like trying to ride the big wave to make a name for yourself. So a lot of beings will come and ride this big wave of apocalypse, right? To like really use this energy. I mean, this is part of why physical embodiment and rebirth is so important. This is, because in this realm, we have all this incredible potential to deepen our awareness, which can be taken back into spirit or into the spirit world or into the bardo, right? It's harder to do certain kinds of work just as a mental body or a spirit, right? But when you come into the physical, you can use the illusion of physicality to get things done, to do a lot of work, right? And a lot of beings come to do that, right? So it's like a training ground, a workshop, and so forth. Some of you, maybe, you've done the same thing. Um, so wonderful, yeah. So let's move into our practice, right? And you have the the prayer doc. So make sure that you're doing that. And in the future, when I get back after these travels, we're going to kind of offer a different kind of setup for the prayers as well. Since there's so many of us offering prayers, I just want to make sure that we have a little bit of kind of some guidelines that can make it easier for me to read through everything. Okay, but for now, just put those prayers on, and I'll offer those as we get into our practice. All right. So again, beginning by finding your seats, inviting yourself into this moment, calling yourself in from the past, calling yourself in from the future, arriving into this moment. As we talked about last weekend, the moment is one of our first vows that we take to be devoted to this moment, to the present. because it's only through the present moment do we get free. And it's only in the present, that we can actually heal, right? So noticing the weight of your body, the seed rising to hold you. We can also begin to reflect on our reasons for practice. Why are we practicing? What brings us to this moment? Right? And can we align like our aspirations with this primary aspirations that we're practicing to not only get free from our suffering, but to help all beings get free. And we get free by getting clear about the nature of things, by understanding the truth of what's actually happening. And to understand the difference here of like connecting to the truth of things and trying to figure out something. These are two different things, right? I don't have to figure something out in order to connect to its essence. That may save you a lot of trouble. Confusion, for instance, chaos. Yeah, it's hard to understand. Guess what? I don't have to understand it. I just need to know and have faith that the nature of this confusion is something that's already liberated. Space, emptiness, energy, already liberated. What needs to get liberated is my misunderstanding of what phenomena really is. This feels like a very subtle space to be in, right? But it's important to abide in this kind of space, right? So again, what feels helpful, right, to reframe this in a different way is to become aware, right, of what's happening, you know, across the board, our bodies, our minds, and the world around us, and our relationships, and so forth and so on, to become aware of that and not always try to figure out why something is happening, but to spend a little more energy sometimes in just connecting to the truth, the essence of what's happening, the nature of the thing itself, right? And this is when emptiness begins to awaken, right? This is when emptiness begins to kind of reveal itself to us, right? In these moments where we're letting go of trying to figure out what's happening or what's arising or why I have this sensation or why my knee hurts or why it's cold in here or why the lights are blinking. Just letting go of that why, and just opening to the space of just discerning the nature of what's arising. Not why, but what. What is the nature of this sensation? What is the nature of this light, this sound? We cut through this kind of like the surface kind of sensory data, right? And we kind of dip beneath the sensory level into the felt level, or what we would call in Tantra the secret level. And the secret level, and very much the secret in general, is always emptiness, right? There's always going to be emptiness. But we move into this in a way that is extremely subtle. So if you're looking for a big bang and a parade right now, that's not going to happen. This is intensely subtle experiencing on purpose for a very good reason. Because if you go too quickly into emptiness, it makes it very hard to really abide with this tension of form and emptiness. So another way of saying that, if you get to emptiness too quick, you're going to lose motivation to be here. Or you think you're like hot shit. And then the ego comes around and co-ops that experience and says, you're very special. So this is why we go easy, slow. And the sign of our kind of attunement to emptiness is just the experience of just a little more spaciousness, a little more openness. Things don't feel so rigid and sharp like they have in the past. That little bit, that very small nuanced experience can open up a lot of hope, a lot of inspiration, a lot of insight for sure. And from this space, right, from this experience, we begin to call in the consciousness of Medicine Buddha. Because everything, especially the Buddhas, are born, arise from emptiness. Like everything arises from emptiness. And when we touch emptiness, even subtly, we can remember our capacity to shape emptiness, right? Or rather, to shape the energy that imbues emptiness into phenomena. And when we have the intention of liberation for ourselves and for all beings, that intention is actually what we call bodhicitta. And then that bodhicitta shapes emptiness and energy into experiences, into phenomena that's only pointing back to its very essence of emptiness. But to be truthful, the realization of anything, right? The realization of anything being an expression of emptiness can also lead you back to emptiness. It doesn't matter. We don't have to imagine the essence of Medicine Buddha being emptiness. You can imagine the essence of a pencil, right, being emptiness, and that's enough. But the Buddhas are especially arising as unique vessels or doorways that can take us very skillfully back into this experience of emptiness or liberation. But the realization of one thing as being the expression of emptiness is the realization of everything being expressions of emptiness. If this, then the other, right? So in this space, we offer a prayer into emptiness, into the very nature or secret of all phenomena. And this prayer is to become Medicine Buddha, to become the great healer. And as you offer that prayer, what happens? What change do you feel when you pray to become the great healer, to become an expression of Medicine Buddha? What's happening in your practice? So we turn our attention to our first mantra, Minla Sange Kino Soha, beginning with chanting the mantra 3 times and then ending with And as we chant, allowing the mantra to shape you into an expression of Medicine Buddha, shaping you into the medicine holder that you are, that we all are, and surrendering to that transformation, trusting that transformation, right? Because this transformation, this practice is calling your medicine forward. As we call your medicine forward, that medicine offers you shape and form. And that shape and form is simply an expression of Medicine Buddha. So we'll begin. Om Razange Kino Soha. Om Razange Kino Soha. Om Razange Kino Soa. Om. And just like that, we become the great healer, expressions of Medicine Buddha. And whatever your medicine is, we imagine that this medicine begins to express itself as a radiance, radiating from your body as the great healer into this world, allowing this medicine to flow into the communities, into the places, into the people that most need this medicine right now. And we allow this medicine to flow as we turn our attention to our main mantra. Tea taum baconze, maha baconze, rasa, sumungate, soha. Like this, I pray for the end of pain and suffering and the root of all pain and suffering. And I release this energy of this prayer out to all the worlds, so that we all may be liberated. O te atam beganze ma beganze raza sumunga te soha te atam beganze ma beganze raza sumunga te soha te anda beganze ma beganze razumunga rezoa te anda beganze ma beganze razumunga rezoa Zeada umbegense, begense, ma begense, razunga zoha. Zeada umbegense, begense, ma begense, razunga zoha. Zeada umbegense, So turning attention to the prayers, we call into the space all of our sources of refuge, all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Yidams, Dharma protectors, all beings of light, all the protectors and guardians and guides of the elements. We call in all of our benevolent ancestors and all the beings from across all the worlds and realms who love us and who want us to be free. We ask you to hold these prayers for us and to work on our behalf to bring about the fruition of these prayers, and in doing so also offer us the energy and other capacities to also work to bring about the fruition of these prayers as well. We start by offering prayers that I'm able to do well in chaplaincy school while caring for my girl and for myself and work to find a good job. This first 2 weeks are proving challenging. Prayers for my friend and his family whose house burned down and is trying to rebuild. May he and his family have respite. Prayers for R's broken heart. Prayers that R's broken heart heals with strength and agility. She is coming to terms with never having her old family back, and she does not have much family to spare. Prayers that R finds ways to balance getting food in her body during times of hyperfixation or upset. Prayers for all those suffering under the current systems, under war and genocide, for all those feeling peak hopelessness, that they may experience courage and hope. Prayers that Lama Rod have restful and joyful holiday week. And prayers for me and your crazy Dharma Assembly Milena, who has been stuck in a psychiatric jail facility for 9 days, and they're not letting them go. So please support them in offering these prayers. Follow them on social media. Their handle is right here in the prayer doc. Thank you for your practice. I love all of you. Inshallah, see you in person real soon. You're all mashallah. Right? So offering deep prayers for Melania and for their treatment and for their stability, safety, and well-being. Offering prayers that my housemate A can overcome their addiction to alcohol and transcend their sticky family karma and birth trauma. Prayers for my complete freedom and safety as soon as possible. Prayers that I may resent my recent trials and trauma as smoothly as possible. Prayers of gratitude to my spirit guides and all the benevolent beings who have supported my liberation. I love you and appreciate you all so much. Prayers that my daughter, dog, and I may all be well and happy now and always. Prayers that I continue to balance the work and work before me. Prayers for a gentle eclipse season. Prayers for N, R, E, and S. Prayers for Lama Rod in this next year of life to be free ASAP. Prayers that all beings in all realms and timelines get free, Ashio. Prayers of gratitude that our ancestors are available for support, protection, and consultation, and gratitude for circles and circles of community, and gratitude for access to powerful magic. So much gratitude. Prayers for my family, my mama, sister, and her wife, and 3 children as they navigate their journey through healing trauma. Prayers for sanity in the midst of change. Prayers for me to know my worthiness and help me to get in touch with my magic. My family as they gather and remember my Uncle Ken this week for his funeral. Prayers of gratitude for the teachers, the teachings, and for all the privilege of having a human life in which to awaken. May all be liberated, may all be free, and may all awaken to our true nature. Prayers to be able to keep a healthy balance during these insane times. May our minds and hearts be protected. Gratitude for all the blessings of my life, for this breath, for a return of my creative spirit aside from capitalism. I am so grateful to be creative for fun and continue to ask for prayers to be open and channel for creativity. Prayers for my brother, for him to find the courage to find his way, create more with this life. Please lead him in the right way and give him the strength to become more. Prayers for the book I am publishing this month to come together and be filled with good spirit and received well. Prayers for Melissa, Judith, Kay, and Joy. Prayers for my brother-in-law and family as they gather to say goodbye to his mom this weekend at her memorial. Prayers for preparing for my move abroad. Prayers for Titi Arma, who has just taken back to the ER with pneumonia and stubborn health issues. May she receive all the care she needs, return to full health, and receive continued love, care, and support from her family. Offering prayers for E as she is facing another surgery in her cancer journey. Prayers for a complete and full recovery, remission, and cure of her cancer, and return to health in body, mind, and spirit. Prayers for Lama Rod that his birthday bring return of all the blessing he gives out 100-fold, and for another year of liberation and joy. Offering prayers to my older brother's family that they continue financial solvency and move toward abundance. Prayers for me as I continue to heal from cancer, as the various treatments and healing mechanisms continue to work and heal me one day at a time. Prayers for Lama Rod that he continues to expand his offerings and be supported by us, the earth, and others in this mission to liberate all beings. Offering prayers for Alex P, who's 17, and family. Alex dealt with cancer as a child and now is dealing with the heart issue. Alex has been in the hospital for the past few weeks. Prayers of strength and restoration to them all. Prayers for Luke, the dog next door. He has picked up an intestinal parasite and has not been feeling well. Prayers for finding a veterinarian who can travel to see him because I do not have the reliable transportation. Ashe. Prayers for my niece Dee and her 3 children, J, A, and C. They are dealing with housing issues again and uncertainty regarding resources. Jay is going into the army soon and folks are on the edge. Let their lives unfold with grace. Ashe. Prayers for A and Z for their ongoing strength and depth of care, understanding, and love. Prayers for C to be released from so many decades of suffering. May she be set free. Offering prayers for my left arm and emergent pain in my body. Prayers for Salama. Prayers for all those suffering. Prayers for swift liberation and celestial connection. Prayers for my financial solvency and a swift return to right work and livelihood. Prayers for all those who are experiencing hunger and exhaustion and fear, that they be immediately blessed with tender human and animal and plant care. Prayers for my mom, prayers for my maternal lineage, prayers for Jeffrey and Jennifer and Bradley, that they locate the resources they need to support their parents in their aging. Prayers for my continued transformation, prayers of deep thankfulness for the loving community that has turned toward me in the last few months. Prayers for the protection of the waters of the earth, and in particular the Great Lakes. May all movement toward pipeline tunnels immediately cease, and may all come together in solidarity for protection of sacred water. Offering prayers for financial ease, for clearing of all debt immediately. Prayers for ease and hope for my mother, Christine. Prayers for my recent health concerns with my liver and thyroid. Prayers for spaciousness in the presence of tremendous overwhelm. Prayers that my mom may feel love and gratitude through my altar practice. Prayers for connecting with my brother beyond the veil. Prayers that I may consume this chaos and grief and turn it into medicine for myself and others. Prayers that we all learn to soften in the areas we want to stay hard. Prayers for me as I enter my second to last semester in seminary. School just started. I am already tired and overwhelmed as usual. I am living with family and need my own home. My patience is running thin. I love my family but need to see them. I do not need to see them every day. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Ashe. Prayers for Lama Rod, enjoying pleasure and rest after his birthday. Prayers for my dear brother Joel, who is having a heart catheterization on Thursday. Praying that all goes well. Praying for my Aunt Gloria, who entered the bardo this past week, that her spirit might find peace. And for my mother Mary, who is grieving being the last of her siblings. Offering prayers for bodies of culture in the LGBTQ community and those experiencing genocide. Prayers for metabolizing my rage while cultivating this ember of love. Prayers for my own patience. Prayers for my own patience and waiting to hear back about my housing, and prayers that my potential new landlord may open his heart to me. Prayers for Miss B, who sleeps outside and needs help getting back home. May she get all the resources she needs to be well and free. Prayers for clarity and ease as I share the medicine I have to offer. Prayers for trust in myself. Prayers for my mother. May she feel relief from her pain and other elements. Prayers for Zoe on her 6th birthday tomorrow. Prayers for Nellie, for Matthew, and for my daughter as she starts school. Prayers of guidance from my protectors and ancestors on how to respond to my uncle who is trying to pull me into his conflict with my mother. Offering prayers for my friends dealing with cancer and their families. Mira Hellman Poland, Marsha Riego, Ricky Joyner, and Chris McSee, and all others whom I don't know. Ongoing prayers for healing of body, mind, and spirit, to not get too absorbed in the pain all around and relative reality. May all creatures wake up to the great joy of interconnectedness and be generally joyful in helping instead the terrible effects on everyone of harming, especially the American politicians who are creating so much harm. Prayers for Palestine and Israel, may the nightmare end. Prayers for Matilda and for Wade as they are doing important work to care for their families and lineages. May they be supported in all ways, in all dimensions, and may they find ease and joy in the work. Prayers that I and each of us may become the medicine that this hurting world needs, and that I can be shown the path to be able to bring about the healing with love, harmony, and truth. May I find tangible steps as well as insight to bring this goodness into the lives of loved ones and all those around me. Prayers for my body, my emotions, my pain, my anger, my hating people, for Nick, for my sister, for the 4 hummingbirds, my cats killed. And also prayers for Lama Rod. May he continue to hold space for all of us. And safe travels. So we offer these prayers all to our sources of refuge, and we pray that you bring about the fruition of all these prayers as quickly as possible and continue to bless us so that we may know and understand how to work in our own situations and with our own capacities to bring about the fruition of these prayers. May all systems be abolished that keep us all from the resources that we need to be safe, happy, well, and free. May we all remember who we are as quickly as possible. May this be so. And just turning our attention back into the mantra, right? And as we're radiating our medicine, imagine that this radiation of our medicine is also deeply energizing all of the prayers that we've lifted up in our space. So we return back. O teya da begenze ma begenze raz sumunga te soha teya da begenze ma begenze raz sumunga te soha teya da begenze ma begenze raz sumunga te soha teya da begenze ma begenze raz sumunga te soha teya da begenze tesuha Deyaum begenze begenze ma begenze Ranzo sumungaze And then just like this, we release this arising as the great healer, releasing this thought, releasing this identity, returning back to our normal selves, our everyday self, noticing the weight of our bodies and the seed rising to hold us. Allowing our bodies to come back into form, and when we feel grounded and formed enough, we offer movement back into our bodies to just kind of reawaken, reintroduce ourselves to this present moment. And then we turn our attention to our closing prayer, Shanti Deva's prayer, which we'll find in the chat box. We'll recite this 2 times. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine. May I become the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your practice. I'll take a few questions since we're technically starting. Well, we're ending early. You can put questions in the chat as well too, or you can unmute and ask a question directly.
Well, as that invitation is percolating, thank you so much, Lama Rod. Thank you, everyone, for your practice. Once more, if this offering supports your liberation, please donate to help sustain Lama Rod's healing work in the world. And the Quickling stock has all kinds of helpful information, including links to the Medicine Buddha recording archive if you want more. There is more. Yeah, just thank you all very much for your practice, and thank you so much, Lama Rod.
Mhm.
Hi, David.
Hey, Eric, thank you. Thank you, brother. Thank you for all you do. Much gratitude. And Lama Rod, thank you. Happy birthday. I'm a Virgo. My birthday was Saturday. So, yeah, and got to see Adashanti give his last live talk. So definitely expansive. I'm definitely in it with the new moon and all that stuff. So I do have a question, however. Maybe it goes to expansion and contraction. You said emptiness and then bringing uh, emptiness into form. It's like a dance. Um, I try to do that in my meditation. I try to, again, expand, uh, but I find that I'm doing it rather than just sort of being it. Uh, do you have a shortcut or some, uh, I don't know, pointer? Am I doing it right? I mean, I'm opening to, again, the forms, but I don't know if they're becoming mental and then I'm just too much in imagination, or it's supposed to be more experiential, which is just sort of a flow. Um, yeah, I don't want to get conceptual and I want to feel into it, but yeah, if you could say more about that energetically and or otherwise.
Sure, yeah. Well, first, you're exactly where you need to be, and this space or this stage is it feels very mm, um like I guess I want to say obvious. Like it's very intentional, kind of like awkward, kind of manipulated. But that's where we start in these practices. And you stay there, right? Shaping and, thinking about it and being with everything, things get too solid, and you have to start all over again. That's exactly where we need to be. But over time, right, the forming it will feel like it's directing itself almost, right? And that gives us the opportunity to sink beneath it in the practice. Um, but that's it's a very subtle movement from like consciously shaping to just experiencing what's being shaped.
Mm.
That will happen eventually if you just kind of stick with it, right? But it's kind of awkward at this stage, and that's fine. It's almost like you're kind of faking it till you get there, and that's fine as well, right? But slowly, eventually, like this inner experience or the secret experience begins to open, which is just the experiential level of the practice. That's the just being emptiness itself, right? Which is again extremely subtle. But you're where you need to be.
So don't try to force it. I mean, don't just, you said like drop it, the drop will happen and then rest in it. I don't need to like, I'm a seeker, so I'm seeking and looking for signals and, but just do the practice and then when it's like fruit dropping, when it's ready, it'll drop.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, David.
Yeah. Um, any other question before we sign off?
Question from Mary in the chat. My question for Lama Rod is how to deal with feeling utterly discouraged and like defective and the frustration of life not being what I'd like.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, this is a very, very common experience that I think many of us wrestle with, if not like often, but at least a couple times in life, like we get to this, right? And um, I think sometimes we find ourselves in this position of wanting to hear something from phenomena instead of practicing the patience to hear what phenomena is actually trying to tell us. Like what I want life to be may not necessarily be what I need life to be. And maybe there's some data, there's some messages coming through. They're trying to land with you, but it's like you're not kind of perceiving it because you have all these other expectations right now. Um, and I think, as I often teach, like in these moments too, it's like you can call in what you need, right? And so if you're feeling discouraged, you call in beings who can actually encourage you, who can actually help you to feel supported. Like the Seven Homecomings practice is ideal for this, to call in all the beings to reinforce, to support, to inspire us right now. Like we need that support right now. Um, and as we were, kind of exploring earlier in the session, right, getting into emptiness itself, it's like the more we train like this and we train in these practices, the more the truth of things begins to reveal itself, right? Um, it's not that like I'm super happy with everything that's manifesting for me, but at this point in my practice, I know that all this is just a play of emptiness and energy to begin with, right? So I tune in to like the secret level, the emptiness level of all of this. And that's where I find a lot of my fearlessness, my courage. I find a lot of my patience and that kind of attunement, right? It's also the deep realization that I'm more than this moment. I'm more than my body. I'm more than this thought. I'm more than my dislikes and aversions. I'm much more than that. Um, And I'm not necessarily, also not necessarily here to, like for me, I'll say that like I'm very clear that I'm here to work. Like this isn't vacation, even though I would love a vacation right now. But like it's like this is like my work shifts. This life, this body is work, right? And I'm on call. Like I get that. Like I'm not here just to like chill. I'm here to get shit done. So I can do that. Like I can find a lot of inspiration in that, in doing that. Right. I think sometimes when we connect to the work that we're supposed to be doing, it really offers us a lot of context. Like it really answers a lot of questions. Like, why am I here? Well, I'm here to get free and help others get free. There's nothing more important that I can be doing with my time at this moment. You know. Um, And I think I saw people offering some helpful suggestions, loving kindness. Yeah. Yeah, offering ourselves a lot of care, loving kindness. I think we're talking about this tomorrow. And Blessed Slay. Loving kindness of bodhicitta. I think it's loving kindness and metta. So that would be something interesting if we're really struggling with a lot of like self-care, a lot of self kind of loving kindness practice, then I would tune in tomorrow for the discussion. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, oh, and I'm gonna do this last question too, and there'll be it. So happy birthday. Everyone's like, oh, are you resting on your birthday? No, because you keep me busy. Because you all like to have all kinds of conflicts in your life that always end up coming to me. Um, so how are you navigating the propaganda? What discernment can be embraced to get a clear sense of material reality while also opening to the subjective reality and deepening practice? So how am I navigating the propaganda? I think first and foremost is not about reacting to anything, but it's about responding, right? So this is what we're trying to disrupt is all this reactivity. You hear something, then you react instead of just like listening. We're not here. I'm not trying to hear anything. I'm trying to listen, right? There are different ways that like wisdom or truth are finding their ways to us, and we have to train in listening to that truth, right? And that's how you get through or cut through the propaganda. And the propaganda is just the ways in which people mask, their own insecurities. The propaganda is a way that we think we're manipulating reality to find some comfort, some stability, right? Be it the media, be it, gossip or whatever it may be as propaganda, right? Um, what do you feel to be true? And not just like, I mean, this is a very profound question, right? What do you feel to be true? In this practice context, what we feel is aligned with the secrets, truth, the essence, the emptiness of everything, right? That's what we're grounding in the emptiness in order to discern the truth of everything, right? And the reality, the material reality, we're also opening to the subjective reality, deepening and deepening practice, right? Yeah. And this is something that we don't necessarily, again, we can't necessarily do on our own, when we're talking about getting clear and grounding and deepening. This is, yes, our personal practice, but it's also a conversation that we're having with other folks on the path, right? With the natural world, with emptiness itself. These are just, you're having conversations. This path is about being in conversation, right? And we need conversation partners. And this is why we have the three jewels, the Buddha, the Sangha, or the Dharma and the Sangha. Like these are conversation partners for us to get clear about what it is that we're doing. Yeah. Also, as we were talking about the whole weekend at Sex Down South, also have my shirt on, Sex Down South. Isn't it wonderful? It says sex. Like I only wear it just because it says sex, because I have this intense need to be that out there Dharma teacher because I need a gimmick and I need to be separate, right? It's all part of fundraising. Just in case you get me confused with that other Black queer llama that's on the scene. And by the way, there's no other Black queer llama on the scene. So that was a joke. So don't go start Googling. Who's this other Black queer llama? I'm not saying that there's never been one, or that there isn't one. I'm just saying. But what I'm really saying is getting back to this question, as I was saying, talking about this weekend, we were talking about pleasure. My work, was to explore pleasure as liberation or liberation through pleasure, right? And of course, using the work, of tantric Buddhism and so forth to get clear about that. Pleasure becomes a doorway, right, into the nature of emptiness, into emptiness itself, right? So we get there by expanding, consuming chaos, consuming pleasure, right? Which is really a far, far out thing that even pleasure has to be consumed, right? Everything has to be consumed, no matter how wonderful and amazing it is still asking for us to hold it, not for it to hold us. And I wanted to challenge our relationship to pleasure here right? To get expansive, to get open, to get fluid with pleasure, not to try to hold on to it as something that feels very finite. No, this is like something we expand into. I bring this up here just to say in general that like we need joy, right? We need pleasure, we need happiness, we need gratitude, right? Many of us think that we have to give up pleasure and joy to be in solidarity with people who may not have access to that. And what you do is that you just add more misery to the world. You just become another miserable person showing up in solidarity with people who don't need your fucking misery, right? If only our misery could be transformed into like other currencies that could be much more useful, then maybe we can talk, right? But like don't show up in solidarity with me with all of your guilt. Like I don't need it. Right? Like I hope you keep the receipt because you need to return it back to the store, right? So like I think find your joy this week. Find and for me, gratitude is my doorway into joy, but find joy, find celebration, right? There's still so much to be grateful for, right? Even though it feels really dire and desperate, right? But this is what happens before the storm breaks and the morning comes, right? Again, this is just ancestral wisdom, right? You know, it storms in the night, but joy comes in the morning, right? And it always does, actually, because that's what happens. And two, because it's called impermanence. Like, like things just don't stay the same. And this is why we pray, we practice, we fight, we organize, like we're pushing this change, right? That's why this is so important. Yeah, it may be slow, but it's still changing. Right. And every day we are all doing our work to metabolize all of this energy. And I know it's hard. You know, this is why I'm talking about joy, right? Like you need joy to support you, right? Like my ancestors didn't get free by just being consumed by the depression and the despair. Like we erupted and practice and prayers and acting up like we resist it. Like you may have my body but you'll never have my soul of my or my mind, right? Like you can be free in an unfree world. Like as I often say, I love all these sound bites that I throw out. You can be free, and you have to figure out how to be free when you live in a state that's dominating you. And you do that by retaining your agency, your right to imagine, to dream, to make choices, to practice agency in the ways that we still can practice agency, to never buy in to the hates, right, into the fear, that's being thrown and projected onto us. That's how we practice freedom right now, right? You don't buy into the propaganda, right? Um, so so I hope that's helpful, everyone. So I'll see you actually in a bit. So I'll be back in October. In the meantime, I will see some of you next week in Berlin, and then next in UK for our fall retreats as well. So I look forward to seeing our European and UK community members. Okay. So thank you all so much. Until we meet again, may you be well. And I hope to see you tomorrow night in Blessed Slay. And this weekend as well. We have stuff coming up this weekend. Oh, we have Sunday service.
That's right. There's so much work to be done before